What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham Jason Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network as well as on the E Network. As today we're talking Season 4, Episode 8 of Total Bellas entitled Road to Evolution. So I believe the series finale is coming up, or not the series finale. I mean, it very well might be considering how the ratings have been in the toilet since the start of the season. But the Season 4 finale is coming up, I believe, in 2 weeks on the 24th, which will obviously culminate in the Evolution pay-per-view in late October, where Nikki Bella vied for the Raw Women's Championship against Ronda Rousey. And of course, as the title of this episode suggests, they are still on the road to Evolution, with Nikki Bella training hard on the road to the pay-per-view leading up to the event, and Brie Bella still being conflicted regarding the future of her in-ring career with WWE. So they start off this episode with the Bellas interrupting Ronda Rousey on Raw. This came 1 week after the Bellas turned on Ronda Rousey on Raw, turning heel in the process to kind of add further heat to their Raw Women's Championship match at Evolution. So Nikki Bella kind of goes off about how she and Brie started the Women's Evolution, they were there for the Divas Division days and all this other stuff. And Nikki Bella made this comment about how she and Brie were knocking down doors, or specifically Nikki, was knocking down doors for the women long before Ronda Rousey ever did in WWE. And then Ronda Rousey, of course, responded by saying, "The only door that you've been knocking down is the door to John Cena's bedroom." And it was a great line. The crowd went crazy for it. Some people hated the line. Some people loved the line. I think with other people, I think there was like some sort of, not controversy at the time, but people were arguing online, like the Bella fangirls, about how, oh, if it was anyone else, you would have raved them for it, or if it was anyone else, you would have crapped on him for it. But because it's Ronda Rousey, you'll cheer her for it, because it's, Nikki Bella, and the fact that people don't like the Bellas, blah, blah, blah. My personal opinion, I thought it was a great line. It added further heat to their matchup and established issues between the two going into the pay-per-view. Again, I thought it was a great line. I really enjoyed it. Nikki Bella was also very happy with the reaction. But she is reminded, like I said, that she's fearing that she'll always be reminded of her ex. And they don't ever actually say John Cena. Ronda Rousey does say, I thought she said John Cena's bedroom. They cut out the Cena part and they say John's bedroom. And she actually never says John's name once. Neither does Brie. Brie actually also mentioned John Cena by saying X a little later on in the episode, when she mentioned how she and Bryan have been moving around a lot, and at one point they almost moved down the road from Nikki Bella and John Cena, and they obviously came to the conclusion that wasn't a great idea, and in retrospect, it's also very good they did not end up doing that. But she never mentioned John's name. She only said X, which I thought was kind of weird. So I guess they've since erased all mention of John Cena on the show, unless it happened on WWE TV. So they go backstage. We find out that Paul Heyman helped with the promo, which all but confirms the reports from months ago that Paul Heyman was helping Ronda Rousey with her promos and feuds and segments and matches, and he's been a very integral part of this process in helping Ronda Rousey in WWE with her promos and whatnot. And obviously that's carried over to the Bellas as well. They speak and think very highly of Paul Heyman, and they hug him backstage. So we find out at this point that it's possible that their feud, because it's going so well at this point, could stretch to Survivor Series. And Nikki's very happy about that, because the reaction they've been getting to this feud has been great. Again, the crowd reaction to this one promo I thought was really, really good. The heel turn I thought was very well executed. I'm not the biggest Bella Twins fan in the world, but I thought the feud that they had with Ronda Rousey going into Evolution was really well done, considering the time they only really had to work with it, which was only about 2 or 3 weeks. And Nikki Bella realized the same thing. She goes, yeah, we've done really, really well with what we've been given for such a short span of time. Imagine how much better we could do with more time if this stretches out to Survivor Series. Brie, on the other hand, is very conflicted, because as we've been, hearing about for weeks on end now here on the show, Brie can't handle this schedule anymore. She did not realize it would be so difficult to come back on the road, be back in the thick of things on Raw and SmackDown. The injury to Liv Morgan aside, she's really busy at the moment between the Birdie Birdici thing, the wine company they have going, Birdie B, being on Raw, being on SmackDown. She only really recently ended her storyline with Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. She's only really working Raw on the live events and doing a lot of traveling. But even that has proven to be way too much for Brie Bella, because she doesn't want to be away from her kid. She doesn't want to be away from Birdie Joe. So speaking of Brie, we also find out that Bryan is a very slow driver. He's very slow in everything he does, and I can relate to that, so I can't say I'm exactly on Brie's side here. But she yells at Bryan for being a slow driver while driving on the freeway. Then the entire Bella family goes out for a sushi dinner. I'm not really sure what the point of that was, but Nikki Bella kind of talked about how bothered she gets when things don't go exactly as she visualizes, which ends up being a theme for this episode because she wants everything to be perfect, and even when it goes perfect, she thinks to herself that things could have been better. So anyway, Brie talks about how she doesn't know if she wants to stay in San Diego after their 7-month lease is up, where Brie, Birdie, Joe, and Brie are currently residing. They don't know where they want to go. They talk about how she's been moving everywhere over the last number of years. They were in San Diego. They started out in Phoenix. Brian was very upset when they first moved from Phoenix because he loved the area. He lives a very, a lifestyle where you're in the same place for a long period of time and you're not constantly moving. But they were in San Diego. They almost went to Los Angeles with Nikki Bella. They were in Phoenix at one point. They were in Washington for a few years when Brian retired. So they've been doing a lot of moving, and Brie has never once felt settled in any of these places and never really felt like the right place. So I'll talk about that a little later on. Nikki talks about going on to train for Evolution. She takes Kathy with her mom, Mama Bella. She does a lot of training for the pay-per-view and just getting ready and getting in tip-top shape for the match with Ronda Rousey. She talks about how excited she is for the match, but she's nervous as well because she wants, again, everything to go perfectly. With Brie, back to the lease thing, she feels very indecisive. That was another theme of this episode, that Brie is a very indecisive person. Brian may be a slow person. Brie, on the other hand, is very, very, very indecisive. And she just wants to break the lease and go back to Phoenix. I don't know if she can wait another 7 months to want to leave to leave San Diego and then go back to where they were before in Phoenix. She wants to break the lease, just pay the money, which is a lot of money, Brian says, and go back to Phoenix right then and there. Brian, on the other hand, he doesn't really care where they go. He'll make the most of any situation. He did like Phoenix when they were there. He'd have no problem moving there. But at the same time, he just wants to stay put somewhere and not want to make another rash decision by getting up and leaving another place just out of nowhere, paying this huge-ass fine for breaking the lease, and then going back to Phoenix and only to find out that she doesn't want to be in Phoenix, like that whole thing. Brian just wants to stay put and be somewhere where Birdie Joe can grow up and not feel like she's constantly moving. And as I mentioned earlier, Brie goes on to talk about how she wants to feel settled in whatever place they choose, and how every place up to that point she's never felt actually settled in. The Bellas, she reveals, moved around a lot as kids, like up until their 20s. And even when she got on the road with WWE, she was on the road quite a bit. She actually even she revealed that she sleeps better in hotel rooms than she does in her actual bedroom. So that is probably the core reason as to why she has never really felt settled in any of the places that she and Brian have moved into. And Brian even brings up, maybe it's not the places that we're living in, maybe it's something that you have to deal with internally. And Brie kind of, struggles with that, and she kind of juggles, that whole thing for the remainder of the episode as to whether it's something that she has to deal with and something that she has to tackle in her own life before they can make a real decision on where they want to live. So back to Nikki. The whole storyline with Ronda Rousey scares her about being back in the media. Because again, she made the cracks about John Cena and all this other stuff and taking cracks at Nikki Bella. Again, it was great dialogue. It was great back and forth. But at the same time, when you're part of something like that, you have to realize that it's going to bring back, not memories, but your past relationships will be acknowledged and brought to the forefront. It could have very well been something where Nikki said, don't touch this subject, I don't want to talk about it on TV, but she didn't, so props to her. She could have very well told Ronda Rousey in WWE, I do not feel comfortable you bringing up my relationship with John Cena. I'm sure that was a line that was approved beforehand by both WWE and Nikki Bella, otherwise it would not have been mentioned. They wouldn't do such low blows. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how the wrestling industry works. But as far as I know, I think that was something that was planted and planned and that Nikki gave her full approval of. But at the same time, she's not all that comfortable being back in the media and her ex being brought up because it's a tough, situation to be in. She's also sick of the perception that people have of her and the fact that she doesn't work hard, that she's not a great wrestler. She's scared that if she does not live up to the expectations at Evolution by having a very good match, then all these insults being thrown her way by Ronda Rousey and fans are true, that she's no more than a Divas competitor, that she's not that good in the ring, that she's not that good, and that she was really only just John Cena's girlfriend and nothing more than that. So that's why she's feeling the pressure right now, not just because she's facing Ronda Rousey, but also because of things that Ronda Rousey said in storyline leading up to the matchup. So the whole family attends an axe-throwing session. Why? I have no idea. Nikki Bella even fails to see what purpose this is supposed to serve. No life lessons are taught here. It just kind of seems like a waste of time. So Brie talks with Alicia Fox when they get to Raw about how she wore her gear backward in Australia at Super Showdown, and I guess she wore it backward again on Raw a couple of days later, and it was like not her whole gear, but like her bottom pants or something like that. Something random. I don't know why I threw that in there, but anyway. Nikki feels like there's a lot left for the Bellas to accomplish in WWE before Brie is done. And I think the storyline with Ronda Rousey is, a clear example of that. They've done a lot of great things with Ronda Rousey in such a short span of time. They had a pretty decent run overall, aside from Brie Bella almost killing Liv Morgan. I think Nikki Bella did a lot better for herself during that run than Brie did. But Nikki comes to the realization that there's a lot more they can do before Brie hangs it up for good. And that's also furthered when Nikki and Ronda get in the ring ahead of their Raw Women's Championship clash at Evolution. They get in the ring for their contract signing on Raw. Nikki slaps Ronda Rousey right across the face, and she called it thrilling. She loved the feeling of being back in that ring, getting physical with the other women. And again, she called it thrilling to the point where she kind of gives off this vibe where she misses being back in the ring, as does Brie, but Brie doesn't want to juggle both being in wrestling and being a mother at the same time. So Brie and the family go out go-karting. Nikki cancels at the last second to train for the Evolution matchup. So at go-karting, JJ wins, and Brian, I think, is a little faster than Brie this time. So Brie makes fun of Brian for being slow, but when it comes to go-karting, I think Brian was a bit better. I think it was Brie that actually ended up coming in last. Nikki talks about how, it sucks. I've missed a lot of birthdays. I missed a lot of weddings. I missed a lot of important events in my career. And this is no different. Sometimes you have to sacrifice things because she likes to work and she really wants to make this match as good as it possibly can be. And she feels that she can't do that if she's spending too much time with the family or doing whatever, which is one of the benefits of being alone and not being a mother and all this other stuff. Brie and Brian, meanwhile, start their next house search in Phoenix and kind of decide where they want to live next. And Brie comes to the realization that she is really ready to start trying for a second baby in a new home. So when they move to Phoenix, find a new place, that's when they'll start trying for the second baby, and Brie will put her in-ring career behind her at long last. So Kathy, Mama Bella, sits down with Nikki and talks about how physically and mentally exhausted Nikki looks. And again, she's working hard and she's enjoying the process, but it's taxing both mentally and physically. And even the match, if it goes great, Kathy still feels that Nikki feels that it wouldn't have been enough and that she could have done better. And Nikki understands that her mom wants balance for her, but she also desperately wants to deliver. And maybe after that she'll sit back and relax, but at least for right now, she's in go mode ahead of Evolution. So from there, the whole family gathers at some beach or something in San Diego near, I think, Nikki's place. And that's where Brie and Brian announce, or really Brie, she's announcing that she will be fully retired after Evolution. So after the Evolution pay-per-view has come and gone, she is done with her in-ring career in WWE. And the whole family seems, pretty pleased by the news and that they're very happy for her. Nikki, on the other hand, is shocked by it, and she thought, she's kind of disappointed because she thought that would be something that she and Brie would discuss together and kind of on their own, because she thought that she and Brie would retire together and not separately. Brie knows that she's making the right decision. Nikki is not so much sold on it yet. She's still going to be main eventing Evolution with Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. But Brie has clearly got a lot of other things going on. Nikki even brought up how Brie is always mentioning how, I'm a mother, and Nikki doesn't have that, so it makes her feel bad. But that's why she's always in work mode, because she doesn't really have anyone else to focus on at the moment, aside from her own family. There's no boyfriend in the picture, there's no kids, so she's in a totally different mindset right now than Brie Bella is. So she understands where she's coming from, but she's still not all that happy that Brie did not discuss it with her ahead of time before breaking the news to the family, and that I completely agree with. So that was it for Season 4, Episode 8 of Total Bellas, entitled Road to Evolution. As I mentioned, I believe there's 2 more episodes left this coming Sunday, and then the Sunday after that, the Season 4 finale. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks right here on Network and Chill. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. I greatly appreciate the support. We'll be back in the next few days with more Network and Chill videos, including my full reviews of the return of WWE Photo Shoot the next season, featuring episodes on AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler. So until then, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.